Aloha, my brother.
Aloha, Dave. How are you?
Hey, Lonnie, my bro. How are you? Giving you a big hug and a high five. Gentle hug, very gentle hug.
Thank you. I can always use
Yeah, man. Nah, I remember you well, and for sure with the back and stuff like that. I've been around you a whole bunch of times over the decades, and just wonderful to
Okay.
to uh, get to have you back on. Can you hear me all right? Do I got a decent signal?
Yeah. I mean, of course I'm older and my hearing is has deteriorated a little bit because of too much guitar, but that's okay. I can hear you.
All right, I'll
I
turn it.
got it up close.
All right.
No, I'm up close. You can turn it up too if you want.
Yeah, I'll turn
You
it up a
know.
tiny bit too on my end for
All
you,
right.
for
There
sure,
you go.
if I can. And you're the king bee.
Ah,
Yeah, it's been a few
ah,
years since we were chatting there at the Blue Note, and of course you're coming back. It's Thursday, November 21st, Friday, November 22nd. Then you're going to be over at the Mac on Saturday. And when you think about this and your long history, because Lonnie and I were just talking about some of the times that I've gotten to meet him, certainly over the years here in Hawaii. When you think of playing here, is there something, some indelible memory that comes to your mind, my brother?
always. First of all, you got to understand that just being in the word of Hawaii is is like paradise in my mind, my heart, and the music that comes out to me. As far as I'm concerned, I'm me, Lonnie. I bring out the flower that just becomes. It just resonates to me. It's totally different than anywhere else that I play. Hawaii is a totally different vibe than any place I've ever played in, and I feel it every time I'm there. I don't know if it's a strong spiritual awareness or presence. Obviously, it's a presence, but it's, again, it's a totally different vibe. And I remember when I first visited Hawaii back in 19, I believe it was 68 or 69. We were called Eric Burden War,
Right?
and yeah, we played. It was like I was pretty much being in my the same element as I'm usually when I'm in on the mainland. But for some reason, when I was in Hawaii, my mind went somewhere else, and that was the first time I had experienced a different place that had a strong aura about it that just made me just totally different. It made my music better too. It made me more have more of an island feel of my music, even more
Oh,
than
I
it was.
bet. Oh, I bet it can touch people. There's no question what you're talking about. Being in that kind of environment can certainly affect people. You know, one of those places. It's funny you say all that because when these promoters did a couple of Diamond Head Crater festivals, like redoing what had been done in the '70s, they did them in the early 2000s, and you actually were on one in
Yeah,
2006. We got to do an interview there in the crater at this National Guard base live on the air.
yeah,
Do you have crater
yeah.
crater memories of that unique place, the Diamond Head Crater?
Well, yes, uh, it was just like I was afraid to go in there because I thought we were going to cause an eruption from our music. I said, "Whoa!" Oh, but I, to be honest with you, I don't really remember much because my mind was in such a fog back then. But one thing I do remember is my feelings that I had, the vibe. Again, it
Yeah.
goes back to how my music rescinded on the island. And that's really, oh, and the locals, because back then there was a lot more locals in Hawaii. And I remember that very clear. Other than that, the water, the rocks, some hotels that were there before a lot of the other ones were built, because I think we might have, well, that was later we went to Guam, okay, before Guam was rebuilt, you know, um, from the war, stricken area. But, we did the crater I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we did it 3 times.
Right.
Yeah, the second time we came back over and did it, it was like a reunion. And if I'm not mistaken, I was told that the crater shifted. I remember that. Someone told me the
Wow, the actual land had shifted, you're saying, in
yeah,
there.
yeah, exactly, and that blew my mind. I said, "What?"
Well,
And I said, "Okay," and it did. It did shift,
that goes
and I
with
think
your
we,
eruption fear for sure. That hand in hand with the
yeah,
eruption fear, because who could even believe that something like that could happen?
and I think we did and I could, don't quote me, but maybe it was only 2 times that we did it, but I kind of, I vaguely remember that. I know we did. It was either the second or the third time that we did it, and it was a festival of other people that was on there. Linda Ronstadt, I remember she was on it.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
2006 that I was talking about exactly with Steve Miller,
oh,
Steve Miller and Linda
oh yeah.
Ronstadt, correct?
Oh, okay, yeah. Because the first time we did it, I believe, was in '69 or something like. It was like way before all that,
Yeah.
and so it was the second time that I was told it had shifted. I remember it just got done raining, and the ground was in some areas there was places where there were mud. I remember
It was
those are things I
historic.
remember.
It was historic.
Yeah.
You're mentioning the 40 days and nights of rain from early 2006. It was a historic period of rain.
Yeah. And I remember I did an interview, and one of my words that I said, which I also remember, is that war always brings sunshine. I said, don't worry, nothing will be canceled. We'll be there, and we'll bring the sunshine. And we did.
No, you did, because there was a whole bunch of like, will this go on or not? There was a lot of question because the rain and there were
Exactly.
all these little rivers of rain on the inside of the crater. And
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
neat is like you also revisited music this year in a very special recent expanded re-release that I don't know if everybody knows about, but I mean they know the music, of course, because it's
Hmm.
such an epic jam. But The World Is a Ghetto and the expanded version of that. Talk a little bit about that thing coming out.
Well, it's out now. If I'm not mistaken, that might be what you're talking about. Is the version of the album, the remake, not remake, but the making of.
Right.
Yeah, and there's some of the other tracks that was on that album also. I believe the Cisco Kid, I think. Um, and it's been so long, man. I don't even know my own music
No,
anymore.
it's okay.
And I think that's a good thing because then I'm challenged and surprised when I get on stage and start playing it and say, "Oh yeah, okay."
It's funny how songs, it's something what you just said, your songs, one thing about War that is impressive is when you think of that particular song, The World Is a Ghetto, that inspired many big names to cover it. And when I was researching this, I did not realize that people, because I had just heard recently the Charles Kennard cover of that. But then I heard, there's George Benson and Ahmad Jamal,
Yeah,
James Moody, Maynard Parker. Were you,
yeah.
when those were coming out, did that kind of stuff, do you remember things like that? Like, did that make you feel like, wow, what an impact our music is having?
Well, I was totally into jazz back in the early days, and when I started hearing people covering our music, and by the way, City Country City was on that album also, which Lou Donaldson covered City Country City,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah. Right.
and a
That's right.
couple of other, a lot of our music was covered before the rappers started sampling our music. But yeah, it's been covered, and I was totally honored that these jazz players who I still can't stand up to their ability to play jazz. Still can't. I'm still trying to emulate them, and here they are taking my music and making it like something totally outrageously great. I think Ramsey Lewis covered one of our songs. That was Slipping in the Darkness. he and the bass player Cleavon Little, whatever his name,
Tons of
Cleavon.
tons of
Yeah,
covers, man. I mean,
yeah,
that's such an impact, and I guess
yeah.
that's a great lead into the question of like yourself, flashing back to being really young. I don't know what age. I've talked with you about this before, but it's a fresh chat. So tell us the story of exactly how the keys came to be this instrument that you have now made an entire lifetime with.
The Keys.
What was it that got that first inspiration? Who do we credit? What's the story that most inspired this to happen?
Oh, another jazz player, Jimmy Smith, who also
Okay.
covered "Spill the Wine." Believe it or not,
Wow.
if you Google, you'll see that he also covered it, but it was an instrumental. And I don't. It's like, how do you cover "Spill the Wine" instrumentally? Well, he did,
Yeah.
and I think there was a series out back in the day called Medical Center. I think it was Lalo Schifrin, I believe. And on the B side of that was "Spill the Wine" also, instrumental. Can you
Wow.
believe that? And then
Unbelievable.
of course, the Isley Brothers. They also covered "Spill the Wine." They did their version of it, which was very close to ours, and a lot of other Latin groups covered it. But anyway, going back to your question, the keys. I started actually on drums and percussion, but then of course, when I was with the band as we became War, out of the name Creators, previously before War,
Right.
I just stuck to keyboards, and but I was always into the organ. I wanted to be like Jimmy Smith, Jimmy McGriff, Richard Groove Holmes,
Okay.
uh, all that. I wanted to play jazz
Yeah, yeah.
organ on the B3 Hammond organ. So that's what I stuck with. But the fact that I was a percussionist and a drummer first, I basically simulated percussion on keyboards. So, and the difference is with me is that I was able to play notes and chords on the keyboard, at the same time playing it as a percussion. So, and that's why when you hear a lot of our music, me playing organ, myself and the guitar playing, pretty much playing together rhythmically. It's pretty much almost like percussion, both of us, guitar and the keyboard. That was basically our signature. So,
Well, it makes a lot of sense too because that's a percussion instrument, really, the piano and keyboards. And
yeah, it's the mother. It's the mother. So we just, I just took it to that place, percussion.
no, you did. You hit it. Well, one last question, and then I'll let you go because your time is super valuable. And you said the word mother. And when I hear mother, I think Mother Earth. And when I hear Mother Earth and music, I'm always thinking of Jimi Hendrix, of course. And so
I had a feeling that was coming.
what can I do when you throw that word out, my brother? You just opening the door. So let's take it
Well,
back. And let me just set it up before you say anything, because everybody
okay.
listening doesn't necessarily know. So there's this club in London, very famous, Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club, and War are playing there in 1970 in September, and Jimi Hendrix sat in with them. It would be his very last performance ever. Can you walk us through your very first memory of him just showing up and any cool stories from that night?
Well, I just make it short because I could make it long, but I'll make it short.
You can do this as long as you want, please. I was just setting you up with one more question. You can take it to the bank, man. Take it.
No, because I'll forget before the banks close.
Well,
No,
whatever you
no.
want to tell us, we'll be appreciative. But you got as much time
Oh
as you
yeah.
want for that.
Oh well, Jimmy came down on a Tuesday night. We were playing there. I think it was 5 nights, 2 weeks for five nights out of the week. So we played 2 weeks. Jimmy came down on one of the Tuesdays, because he and Eric were great friends. Remember, we were the Eric Burden and War band at that time.
Right.
So Jimmy, of course, and Eric Burden, Chas Chandler, from the Animals, were all tight knit friends. And Jimmy came down Tuesday, and we had already met Jimi Hendrix way before that, and we passed each other's path while he was pretty much backing up other artists as well as we were before we got with Eric Burton. So, so anyway, he came down Tuesday night at Ronnie Scott's without a guitar. And he sat down backstage and I said, hey, man, where's your guitar? Let's groove like we did when we were at the bungalows in L.A., because that's where we had a jam session at one of the bungalows, and he was just playing on top of his guitar case, and I'm playing on the table,
Wow.
in the living room, and we were just playing percussion and coming up with chants. And so, because he's old school like we are.
Yeah, yeah.
And so anyway, he said, oh, man, that's sorry. I didn't know you wanted me to jam. And I said, yeah. What? And then so he said, I'll bring it tomorrow, which was Wednesday. So he brought his guitar, and what we all did was we came to the conclusion to play Mother Earth by Mrs. Slim. We played it for at least 45 to an hour. That one song, everyone taking a solo. He didn't bring any gimmicks. It was just a regular, straight out, home down home amplifier. And so we all just played the blues all night. Ironically, after we got done, he went back to his place, and everybody, it's time to go home. We all, went to bed. But we get this call from his lady friend, Monica, saying that there was an issue going on, and she was afraid, and she needs help. She was calling our manager and producer, Jerry Goldstein and Steve Gold at the time, because they were really good close friends of Jimmy. And they were the only ones that she can call. She was afraid to call the police or the ambulance because there was drugs there, and she was still going to college at the time, and she just didn't want to get in trouble, things like that. And, of course, no one's mad at her because she didn't know. She didn't know all she had to do was turn him over. He was suffocating, off of his vomit.
Right.
She wasn't a nurse, and she panicked. And of course, no one blames her. And so, but it's just that, that's what happened. And then we got the call. And by the time the ambulance came there, I can't remember if they took him away and he died on the way or he died when they got there. I don't know. I can't even remember. It became a fog at that point because we had to leave that next morning, back to L.A. on the first 747. That was our second time then flying on the 747, and I'm like out to lunch in a fog. Jimmy had just passed away.
Right.
There's just a lot going on, man.
Wow.
It was all blowing my mind, And then I'm flying on this 747 from Heathrow back to L.A., where you had a lot of the Palestinians and a lot of the Brits and some Americans, which was just us, not liking one another. And it was like a mental war on an aircraft. So
Wow.
It was just all one thing after another. So that led me to do my best kept thing, which was have a drink. for 8 hours or whatever it was, to get into my own world. But it was a crazy time during those times, but I loved it. I mean, those were the days. Like the song, those were the days, my friend. I thought they'd never end. And hey, I still remember some of it.
What a
Yeah.
beautiful thing to sing a little bit for us too, man. I don't think we can get it better than that. And
Yeah.
giving you just super high fives, massive respect. The founding member, keyboardist, and songwriter from War, Lonnie Jordan, and returning Thursday, November 21st, Friday the 22nd, Blue Note, Hawaii.
On my birthday.
That is huge, man. What a celebration.
76.
76
Did I say
young.
76? Oh, I'm sorry, 67. Turn it around. No, I'll be 76. And I'm just a strong mind is still sparked. I can do anything a 20-year-old can do, and probably even more because I've been around longer. So my experience is a little bit more keener than a lot of young ones. Yeah, it's all good.
You,
All good.
you sound very sharp, my brother, and provided one epic rundown of several different important things, especially the Hendrix thing. And he's also going to be at the MAC on Maui Saturday, November 23rd. And I hope you had fun going through this stuff and that it wasn't a hassle to pry the stuff loose from your mind.
Oh no, no, no! I'm glad you did because it's a flashback for me, and remembering things, through somebody else, just helps my memory bank to not clog up, but to bloom.
Well,
You
that's
know,
the
and
funny thing then is I'm sitting there on my balcony, lanai as we call it here. I'm listening to the stereos playing out there. It's this Charles Kennard album, and the second tune comes on there, and it's like ba-da-do, do 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 do
okay,
do 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 do
yeah,
do do do
oh,
do do do, and it just like hit me.
yeah.
And I've had that thing in my head, since that jam was on there, just nonstop. I just can't get it out of my
Yeah.
head. So it's funny when you talk about touching people. Think of what you did for him, huh? Because he said, "Man, I got to put that on my record."
Wow. And all we were was a jam band. That's all, and we still are. Because I can play all of our old songs as a jam still to this very day. And we do not play with tapes.
And I know that.
We're still a live band. That's why people can sit in with us and jam if they want. My door is always open if I have the time, on stage. When, not being pressed for any type of time on stage, I usually let people come up and jam. And that's always been our motto, to other, I respect other musicians, and yeah, it's a great thing, to be able to do that. And but if we were playing to tape, nope, can't sit in
Right.
because we're playing straight by the book.
Right. No
By
doubt.
tape.
That is such a complete, rip off for fans too, and not even the music for any reason to even see the band. So now you're
Well, you said that I didn't because I don't want to make other bands feel bad about that.
nah. What you
But
said is
it is
is the
what it is.
truth. No, I
It
hear
is.
you. You represent yourself well, and that's why people were covering it way back when. Hope you
Uh,
had fun today, Lonnie. It was a lot of fun for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dave. All right, Dave's not here. No, oh, sorry, wrong Dave. Dave's not here.
I love it. I love
Jeez.
that bit. I know. I've heard it. I've sat with those two guys in their dressing room, had them explain the whole story with that one, and
Yeah, and we toured with them too. We did a tour with them for about, I think, about 3 years. With Cheech and Chong. It was called the Up and Smoke Tour.
right.
Yeah, sure did. Yeah, Up and Smoke. Woo.
What's your favorite? If I pick one song to go out with, how about you pick our song to go out with? What's the song we should end the bit and play as our last, as the outro music?
Well, a lot of people always think, well, maybe a fast song, or it's one song that doesn't get a lot of play. That's one of my favorite, and it's called "Baby It's Cold Outside." It's not the old Christmas song, but it's our song of the same name, but not the same song. It's called "Baby It's Cold Outside."
I'm gonna play
Since
it.
you've been gone, baby, it's cold outside.
I love
That
it.
is.
That is
Now you just
awesome.
heard the melody, so you should recognize it when you hear it,
I'm
or
a
when you play it.
I'm gonna pop it. High fives, brother. And
Okay.
a lot of fun today, Lonnie. And if we get a chance to say hi at the show, we'll appreciate it. But please travel safe and know that your time is very appreciated. I'm very
Yeah.
grateful.
If you get a chance, you will. All you got to do is just find Adam. Adam is my manager. Either Adam or tell someone to get Adam, and Adam will tell me, and you come backstage and say hello.
I look forward to it, Lonnie. I really do, brother.
Okay.
Stay
All right.
safe.
You remember, you're just as important because we're collaborating right now. We're making music, believe it or not. We're collaborating, and we're expressing it and giving it out to the people. They're listening to you as they've been listening to me.
I
So
love
there
that.
it is.
You got a great vibe, man. You got such a great
Okay.
vibe. Stay safe.
Okay, you too. All right,
Aloha.
Dave.
Bye bye, brother.
Bye.